Hello folks, my name is Mark. This is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? My peoples, where you at? Lots of crazy shit to talk about today in the world, and I want to start off with Donald Trump's immigration raids. So, as Donald Trump campaigned on, the ICE raids have begun, but ultimately it's kind of funny because still he hasn't really picked up the pace much from the Biden or even the Obama years, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But what is happening is that, yes, they seem to have taken some of the restrictions off as to where they can do ICE raids. See, previously they would only pick up people at their homes or something like that. Now they're starting to raid workplaces, they're starting to go to schools. I'm reading stories about how ICE is going into a school and then having the school call the parents of a student. And then when they come in thinking that something's wrong with their child, ICE just arrests them and deports them. And it does seem like, yeah, they are actually shipping people out faster, which makes me kind of wonder, like, is this being done legally? See, because the thing is, if you get arrested to be deported on the suspicion of being an undocumented person in this country, you are supposed to get a hearing. Everyone who gets arrested for this is supposed to get a hearing. That's how the law works. You're supposed to get a chance to defend yourself, because what if you actually do have a valid visa for whatever example? What if you actually are an American citizen or something like that and you just didn't have your driver's license on you or whatever, or if you were detained illegally, or what if you're a dual citizen, something like that. So you're supposed to have an actual hearing in front of a judge where you get to plead your case. It seems to me that they're arresting people and then within a couple of days putting them on planes and shipping them out. Are these people getting the hearings that they're legally entitled to? I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any reporting on that. So could it be that they're just picking up people who have already had their hearings and have already been decided against them, that they're going to be deported and they're just waiting for a date or whatever? I mean, I don't know, because I think sometimes they would do this and you're going to be deported, but then they would give you some time to get your affairs in order. What if you own a house, things like that, and you want to sell it off, whatever. If you have property, you want to make sure that it goes to people that you trust or whatever. And from what I understand, they're not giving people time to actually take care of any of these kinds of things. In fact, some of the things I'm reading on social media, people don't even have time to pack. They don't even have time to get their possessions. They're like arrested and then within 2 days thrown into a plane or whatever. I think it's going to be a problem. I think we're going to see in the months to come just how much of a shit show this actually is, let alone the fact that they're not just limiting the deportations to actual criminals. If you go on Fox News right now and you watch their coverage of these deportations, what they're doing is that they're putting up pictures of the guys, like this guy's a violent criminal and this guy's a child molester and this dude's part of MS-13 and blah, 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 blah. And they're basically framing it like these are people who are like very bad people and all of this other shit. And they deserve to be deported and all that. But in real life, it's not that cut and dry. For example, this past Sunday on January 26th, there were 1,179 arrests, according to ICE. However, only 613 of those people were what you would consider criminal arrests. That is, those are people who actually committed crimes besides just being in the country illegally, which is actually not a crime. Right? Being in the country illegally is a civil matter. It's like a civil offense, not a criminal offense. And when I say civil offense, like, for example, a traffic ticket is a civil offense. If you get a ticket for running a red light or something like that, that doesn't make you a criminal. You're not guilty of a criminal offense. That's not something you go to prison for. That's the kind of level of offense that we're talking about here. You're not supposed to just be like arrested and thrown into a concentration camp for coming into the country illegally. You're supposed to get a hearing. If it turns out that you actually are here legally and all that, then eventually you get deported. And that's how it's supposed to work. And there's a process to it. And I can't really say that they're sticking to that process, but they're most definitely not just arresting criminal, illegal aliens like they claim. It's like, no, they're getting children. They're getting people who have been in this country for years and years at a time, business owners, things like that. and they're just deporting all of them willy-nilly. So that's what's actually going on. And we know this because we keep getting stories about how they're not only just arresting children and non-violent offenders or whatever, they're actually rounding up American citizens as well. Here's a story that came out pretty early after these raids started. Mayor claims citizens and veteran were detained in ICE raid in New Jersey. This is from NBC 15 News. Let's read a little bit of this article. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey, condemned the raid of a business by Immigration and Customs Enforcement on Thursday, saying the people were unlawfully terrorized. Mayor Ras Baraka, that's kind of an awesome name, said in a statement that ICE agents detained undocumented residents, a United States citizen and a U.S. military veteran, while claiming the act was done without a warrant. Today, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE agents raided a local establishment in the city of Newark, detaining undocumented residents as well as citizens without providing a warrant. One of these detainees is a U.S. military veteran who suffered the indignity of having the legitimacy of his military documentation questioned. The statement read, "This egregious act is plain violation of the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution, which guarantees the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures." And that's the thing, folks. They have to have a warrant. They just show up without a warrant. That's illegal. But once again, it doesn't seem like people are pushing back against that, which is kind of bullshit. And I hope this guy that they detained, this American citizen that they detained, I hope he sues the living shit out of these people. That's kind of bullshit. I got another story here about a family in Milwaukee. This is Truth Out. U.S. citizens detained by officials in Milwaukee for speaking Spanish. Let's read a little bit of this one. A family of U.S. citizens in Milwaukee was recently detained by U.S. officials who questioned their immigration status after hearing them speak Spanish. The latest incident of racial profiling amid the Trump administration's anti-immigration crackdown across the country. A relative of the family told reporters that its detained family members were born in Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. territory. People born there are U.S. citizens. So what exactly happened here? These were people just speaking Spanish, and ICE decided, they're speaking Spanish, that must mean that they are illegal aliens. Let's read down a little further. According to the report, the three family members, a toddler, his mother, and his grandmother, were shopping in Milwaukee when they were overheard speaking Spanish. U.S. officials, possibly agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, detained all three soon after, refusing to listen to their protestations until they reached a government facility. The brother of one of the women who was detained said that she had tried to explain their situation to no avail. My sister, in English, explained that not only are they American citizens, but they are from Puerto Rico. They were born in Puerto Rico. This is the part that makes my blood boil here. The U.S. officials eventually released the three family members, but only after the mother presented their birth certificates, the family recounted. One agent claimed they were so sorry for the error, but upon releasing the family, officials refused to drive them back to where they were initially detained, essentially stranding them and requiring them to pay for their own transportation. Now, just picture this in your head, okay? Picture what's going on here. You are out shopping. You're out being a good consumer, helping the economy and all that shit. And you're speaking Spanish. And because you speak Spanish, a couple of cops come up and decide to detain you. You must be an illegal alien since you speak Spanish. No other reason to give them any probable cause whatsoever that you're not a citizen, except that you speak Spanish. See, that's racial profiling, which is supposed to be illegal. The police, the FBI, the feds, they're not supposed to be profiling people based on their race like that, based on their ethnicity. They're supposed to actually have an actual reason to think that you're, in the country illegally. Like you don't have the right paperwork, whatever. There was an investigation involved or something. What is this? This is just like some dudes fucking hanging out at a shopping mall. Oh, there goes one. Get him. What kind of fucking shit is that? That's bullshit. This is supposed to be the United States. In the United States, you're not supposed to have to walk around with your papers. What does this say, right? They wouldn't let these people go until their brother came over with their birth certificate. Then they finally let him go. Well, so now what? Now you just have to carry your birth certificate around with you everywhere if you're not white? Is that what it is? If you speak Spanish, do you just have to carry your birth certificate with you everywhere that you fucking go? There is no official language in the United States. And before all of you MAGA assholes out there start saying, oh, well, they got to speak English. There is no official language in the United States. There's no law that says you have to speak English. You can speak whatever fucking language you want. Why is that an indication that you're not a citizen? Right? The only way it makes sense is because white supremacy. Because they were looking for people who aren't white. Because that's what this really is all about. It's not about actual, immigrants stealing our jobs or being dangerous or anything like that, or gang members or drugs. It's not about any of that shit whatsoever. It's about white supremacy. And it's really just fucking absolutely disgusting. We're seeing other shit like this. Here's another example. Trump immigration raids snag U.S. citizens, including Native Americans, raising racial profiling fears. I mean, Native Americans, for crying out loud. If there's anyone in this country who should be safe from being deported, it's Native Americans, for fuck's sake. Let's read a little bit about this. American citizens, including citizens of native tribal nations, have been pulled into the vast immigration operations ordered by President Donald Trump in accordance with his campaign vow to conduct mass deportations since day one. Those who are getting caught in immigrations and customs enforcement raids are being targeted because of their race or skin color, according to witnesses. No, say it ain't so. The Navajo Nation office was flooded with calls from tribal members living off reservation, with many reporting being questioned about their identity by ICE officers. Native News Online reported, questioning of Navajo Nation citizens who are American citizens by ICE has been problematic enough to say that Navajo President Bu Nguyen took to the airwaves to address it on tribal radio station KTTN. He said he had received accounts of negative and sometimes traumatizing encounters between ICE and Navajo Nation citizens. He advised Navajo residents to carry identification, driver's licenses, and their certificate of Indian blood. Why are these people being questioned? Why are they being questioned? I mean, they're not people. Native Americans are American citizens. Why are they being questioned? Do you think that ICE is going up to somebody who's like of Norwegian descent in the middle of a fucking shopping mall and like asking to see their paperwork? No, that's not happening. Now, I don't want to say that no white people are being deported at all whatsoever, because we do have one example. This is Riley Gaines. Do you guys remember who Riley Gaines is? She's the turf swimmer who lost, I think she took 6th place in some, swimming competition or whatever, and she happened to lose to a trans woman, and then she got all fucking, mega turfy and shit like that, even though she, didn't lose 1st place or whatever. 6th fucking place. And she got all butthurt over that and has managed to turn her, bigotry into a career as a conservative fucking influencer grifter. This is Riley Gaines. Let's see what she has to say. And this is courtesy of the Luke Beasley Show. That's where I'm getting this footage from.
Another letter from Immigration Services. I've made a video about this before, but I'm a U.S. citizen, born and raised in Tennessee, went to college at University of Kentucky, met my husband there. He's an immigrant. He moved over to the U.S. for college on an athletic scholarship from England. We've been married almost 3 years now. We're coming up on 3 years. So you would think he is well on his way to achieving his citizenship, or at least having his green card, right? No, wrong. And why can't he get his green card? Because his medical records aren't complete. And what is missing from his medical record? The COVID vaccine.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I love it. I love it. I love it when the leopards eat their faces. And I doubly love it that it's the reason why this guy is not getting a green card is because he's a fucking anti-vaxxer. Because he's too much of an asshole to go get vaccinated or whatever. I mean, the thing with the whole COVID, it's been 3 years. Millions and millions of people have taken the goddamn vaccine, yet these morons are still making fucking shit over it. I love that. I love the fact that they're kicking this asshole out is because he's too much of a chud to get a vaccine to stop spreading an easily fucking preventable disease. It's beautiful. But let's listen to a little bit more.
It is the year 2025, and we are still requiring the COVID vaccine. You can see it right here. It's backwards. Disregard. Complete the COVID-19 vaccine. But this is what they do. This is what they do to people who do it the right way. I can't even tell you how much money.
The right way. Well, if he was doing it the right way, he would have got vaccinated. The law says you have to be vaccinated if you want to immigrate to this country. That's what the law says. He doesn't want to do that. So guess what? He is in violation of the law. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. I'm sorry that Orange Cheeto Jesus is actually doing something that fucks you up. I'm sorry that the person you voted for to hate the people that you hate is actually hating someone you love. Oh no. Oh God, the irony. It's just, oh my God, it's just so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thousands of dollars we have spent on the different forms and applications and immigration lawyers and all of the different things. All for everything to expire on their time anyways. And for all you people who say, oh, Riley, your husband's here illegally, he should be deported. Just so you don't understand immigration, he is very much here legally. There are other ways to obtain residency than a green card, like visas or advanced parole. Or those of you who say, this is what you get when you voted for Donald Trump. Obviously, my husband can't vote, but if he could, he would have voted for Donald Trump. Change is coming with the current administration, but he has to undo everything that the former administration has done to our immigration system, both legally and illegally. Oh, and when they campaigned on the...
God, oh my God. So just, let's just focus on what she just said. She just said that she did everything legally. She spent all this money. I mean, she could have spent an extra $200 and gotten a COVID vaccination and none of this shit would have happened, but okay. She spent all this money and now it's all fucked up because of the previous administration. Because of Joe Biden, her husband is getting deported. Not Donald Trump, not the guy who made his entire fucking campaign about how he was going to deport every single person in the goddamn country. Not that person. Not the person who has gone out and his first week launched high-profile raids and made it like the fucking, key of his entire administration. Like his big crowning achievement is that he was going to deport all these people. That, not him, but it's Biden's fault. The previous administration. Oh, Trump is fine. He's doing the right thing. But no, the fact that his actions have direct effects on somebody that I care about. Oh no, that must be that must be somehow the Democrats' fault, right? I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
That the former administration has done to our immigration system, both legally and illegally. Oh, and when they campaigned on the tagline, my body, my choice, this is proof they never really meant that.
My body, my choice. I mean, I don't see what the fuck that has to do with this, though. What the fuck does, like, my body, my choice have to do with this? I mean, I guess what? Because here's the thing. I mean, is she talking about vaccines? Well, you do have a choice not to get a vaccine. No one is forcing you to get the vaccine. Just this is the consequence of what happens. No one is like, you don't go to prison if you don't get a vaccine. But the law says if you are trying to immigrate to the country and you don't want to get vaccinated, then guess what? You don't get to immigrate into the country. I mean, I have no fucking problem with that. It makes perfect fucking sense. Right? That is a thing that Donald Trump says about immigrants, isn't it? That they're bringing diseases. Doesn't Donald Trump say that? Didn't Donald Trump say that? Oh, they're bringing diseases into this country, stuff like measles and mumps and all that other shit. So your argument falls flat on your fucking face, you dumb bitch. And then the other thing, it's like, oh, my husband can't vote, but he would vote for Donald Trump. Then he's voting for the guy who is kicking him out of the country. Right? You said you voted for Donald Trump. You voted for the guy who kicked him out of the country because Joe Biden is not in charge right now. Joe Biden did not deport your husband, Riley Gaines. No, that's not what fucking happened. This happened because of Donald Trump. The buck stops here. It just blows me away. And I think I wanted to show that because it perfectly displays the cognitive dissonance that you get from the MAGA people when something is clearly the fault of their own actions, of the people they supported, and they just deny She's just in straight up denial. It's like, no, obviously it can't be Donald Trump. It can't be Donald Trump. Donald Trump's going to save us, you know. Donald Trump is going to make this country great or whatever. No, it has to be Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden hasn't been the president for a month now. And Joe Biden didn't, like, up the immigration raids. And Joe Biden is not the one that's, like, deporting 5,000 people a week or whatever. No, it's absolutely fucking incredible. It just blows me away how quickly she turned around and was just like, this is the Democrats' fault. These people are in a cult. And they're going to look the other way when Donald Trump or anybody from his administration does something that's wrong or unethical or illegal. They're just going to turn the other way because they don't care. Even when it personally affects them directly, like it did to Riley Gaines in this case. She's still going to turn around and blame somebody else. Because Donald Trump, it's not like he's slowing down here, okay? He just said that he wants to ship people off to other countries. Like, he wants to send incarcerated prisoners in the United States off to other countries. He just said that. That hasn't been a policy yet, but I've got a news report of it right here. Trump floats foreign imprisonment of American criminals who are repeat offenders. The president pitched the idea as a cost-saving measure, arguing that sending U.S. criminals overseas for a small fee would cost less than imprisoning them at home. Do you see this? This is what he's talking about, right? Now, we can't say anymore that, oh, he's just bullshitting, he'll never do it. No, he's following through with all of the shit that he said, all of the vile, disgusting shit that he said while he was running for office. He's following through with it. So we have to take it seriously because he's the president now. You know, we could say, oh yeah, it's bullshit when he was just running or whatever, when he was just a private citizen. We could say any kind of shit we want. We could justify it any way we want. We can't do that anymore. He's the actual president. When he says he's going to fucking do something, we have to take it seriously. Even if it's something that's blatantly ridiculous, illegal, and unconstitutional like this. I'm not even going to bother reading that because it's fucking depressing, but how long before we're starting to deport actual American citizens like this? Do you actually think that if they start sending people who are incarcerated here, American citizens who are incarcerated in prison, if they start sending them off to be warehoused in, let's say Panama or Colombia or Guatemala or something like that, do you really think that they're going to allow those people back into the country? That's the next step. You guys aren't getting it, right? That's the next step. He's going to start sending off incarcerated people who are in jails, right? Saying, oh, we don't need them or whatever. And then those people are going to be stuck in those other countries, and then they're going to lose their citizenship. And then they won't be able to come back anymore. And then they're going to start arresting people who disagree with Donald Trump and deporting them. That's what's going on. He's setting up the groundwork right here. So yeah, maybe we won't have concentration camps where they're murdering people like Adolf Hitler, but this is one step into the total fucking like fascist takeover of the United States. Right? I mean, he just signed an executive order to send undocumented immigrants to fucking Guantanamo Bay. This is the direction they're going. This is it right here. Expanding Migrant Operations Center at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay to full capacity. Let's go ahead and read through this because it's only like one paragraph. This is the fucking executive order right here. I hereby direct the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security to take all appropriate actions to expand the Migrant Operations Center at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay to full capacity to provide additional detention space for high-priority criminal aliens unlawfully present in the United States and to address attendant immigration enforcement needs identified by the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security. This memorandum is issued in order to halt the border invasion, dismantle criminal cartels, and restore national sovereignty. Blah, 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 blah. What does this mean? That means that they're going to start grabbing people off the streets and shipping them off to Guantanamo Bay. Now, are they actually going to put, like, only the worst of the worst criminals there? Well, I mean, they're illegal immigrants anyway, right? So why not just deport them? Why do they need to send them to Guantanamo Bay in the fucking first place? What's the point of doing this? He's setting it up so that they can deport anyone, even if you are an American citizen. They can just, like, claim that you're not. They can accuse you of not being one, ship you off, and then you're gone, and it's a giant pain in the ass to get back in if you ever can return home, right? That's what they're fucking doing. I go on Reddit, and I go on Lemmy now. That's another one, right? It's sort of like a leftist Reddit alternative because I've actually been banned from Reddit, but I still go on Reddit and read stuff. I go on these different sites and I see people talking, and there's big debates saying, oh, encroaching fascism is coming and all this other shit, and oh, we need to stand up, blah, blah, blah. You guys don't get it. The fascism is already here. It's already happening. We're in the opening fucking, like, phase of this, right? We're in the phase of, like, right after, like, Adolf Hitler was appointed chancellor. There was about 5 months until he became like a full-on fascist dictator, that, dictator for life kind of thing. There was about 5 months, that 5-month transition, as they were going through and they were rewriting all the laws and all this other stuff, and he was grabbing more and more power. That's what Donald Trump's doing right now. And he's setting it up so that anyone that disagrees with him, anyone that opposes him, can be shipped off to some other country and can never re-enter the country. This is what he's doing. He's anticipating this because there's going to be resistance. There's going to be widespread civil resistance, right? There's going to be people protesting in the streets. He's setting it up so that he can deport those people, even if you're an American citizen. That's what's fucking coming. The guys don't get it. We're on the verge of, like, collapse as a democratic country here. Democracy is, like, essentially, like, being held underwater at this point and being drowned. That's democracy. Democracy is like a bunch of kittens that someone has just put into a pillowcase and thrown into a river. They're starving for air, trying to not fucking, like, drown, barely, like, keeping their heads above water. That's what's happening right now. Guys got to understand this, and it's the same fucking playbook, except it's not Jews this time. It's immigrants. And when they say immigrants, they mean anyone who isn't white. Absolutely fucking disgusting, folks. We are not in a very good spot as a country, I don't see any good outlooks on this at all. And I guess the only thing I could say is just dig in your heels and get ready to resist. Don't give up on the country just yet. Get ready to resist. Also, protect yourself. I guess if you're not white, start walking around with your birth certificate. All right? Start walking around with your important papers, with your birth certificate. If you see these ICE assholes out on the street, you don't have to cooperate with them. You don't have to talk to them. Do they have a fucking warrant? No, then they can't come in your house. Know your rights. Don't cooperate with these assholes. And fuck Donald Trump. Everybody stay cool, stay safe. I'll talk to you later. Adios.
Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.